Hello, I'm Calvin Doyle, and today I'm here with Shirley Dempsey. Shirley is the creator and owner of Balanced by Shirley, and she is a business growth and financial awareness specialist. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounded pretty good.
Yeah, it's very good. I like it. Um, so today we're probably going to talk about business and money and
Yeah,
how the two
I,
work together. So if you can just like, one of the things is we've worked together before, and we're talking about this, and I've discovered a lot about your business and how financial awareness is linked to business growth.
yeah,
This is just a little bit of an insight into that.
yeah. I suppose it's something that people don't really think about. They set up their business, they think about how much it's going to cost them to set up their business, and then they get sold things like like the same way as you get sold things personally. Like you're sold things and you buy them, and you think that's going to grow your business, and all these different things that are thrown at you are going to grow your business. But my approach to it is mindfully spending for your business and also in your personal life. But I suppose because we're talking specifically about business now, I would always say when someone's setting up their business that they need to understand what's going to grow their business and what's not, and what areas of their business they want to grow. And you can't really say what areas of your business you want to grow if you don't know what areas are the most profitable and what areas is going to take you the least amount of time for the most amount of gain, that kind of thing. And to make educated spending estimates, I suppose, so that when you are spending money and you are pumping money into your business, that it's going into the right places and that you can see a return for them.
Yeah, and it's so important because you know we both work with a lot of business owners, and I'm guilty of this as well. You don't even know how much money you're making.
No.
So it's hard to invest into anything when you don't know how much money you have. Nearly the only time I would really know how much money I've made is at the end of the year almost. Or maybe I might have an idea what I made
If
last month,
even.
but I can't plan ahead.
No, and if even, like a lot of people might know what their bottom line is after at the end of the year, but they won't know where the money is gone. Like they'll know, oh, that was spending, that was direct expenses. But they won't be able to say, well, I spent 20% on marketing, I spent 5% on overheads, I spent, 30% on my payroll. Like they can't make informed decisions because they don't know how much each area is costing. And they can't see a trend for it then either. So you can't say, well, my sales are growing and so is my payroll costs. You can't see that margin because you don't know.
Yeah, you're blind. You're just
Yeah,
doing it blind.
just exactly. You're throwing money out and not knowing where it's going to land and just hoping it's the best place. Like, and especially with sole traders that are starting out, they're not even tracking anything really. Like, and they have no idea. And then they're working at the end of the year to get their accounts ready to pass over to an accountant to do their tax returns, to pay a tax bill, and not getting anything in return. So it's costing them like, I don't know, 6, 7, 800 euro to file a return. It's costing them 30% of what they earned after expenses in tax. And after doing all this work, they still don't know how much they've earned, and they still don't know where the money is gone. So my thinking in it is, if you're going to put in all this work to get your accounts up to date at the end of the year, you're sending all your stuff off to the accountant, you may as well get something back from it. You may as well have a report at the end of it where you're saying, this is where everything went, and understanding it, rather than going in with, your fearful, shaky legs, handing over the stuff to the accountant and waiting for the phone call and then saying, oh, thank God that's done for another year. You should be excited to get that back and learn more about your business.
Because that's like 90% of the people probably are like that, just
Oh
worry.
yeah.
It's a worry.
Even if you say to them, it's October now, you want to start filing your tax return, you can see the blood drain from their face. Like, it's insane.
And that's probably because they're just like, I don't know how much I earn, so how much would I owe? I don't know. And you probably
Exactly.
haven't saved any money for it either.
Exactly. They've not saved any money. They've no idea month to month how much is going to be going into taxes. Like in Ireland, it's kind of wrong in a way because we're set up wrong. Because from an early age, you're in school and you're learning all these different things in school that you're saying, is any of this going to be relevant afterwards? Never once in school have they ever taught us to use revenue.ie
No,
to
I
file your
know.
taxes. And like I saw this year, all of these teenagers that were working like weekend jobs and stuff in restaurants suddenly having nervous breakdowns because they had to log into revenue.ie and file a tax return.
Yeah.
And they had no clue how to do it. And like realistically, we should be doing that every year. From the time you start earning money, you should be logging into revenue.ie. You should be claiming your medical expenses. You should be claiming for your uniform. You should be claiming for anything you can in extra taxes so that you're getting a refund at the end of the year, or at least you're not overpaying tax, and that then leads into you becoming a sole trader that knows how to run your books. But like, it's just not something that's ever taught. And people are nervous about it. Like,
and as a business, like when you're running a business and trying to grow a business, it actually is a huge block if you don't embrace all that stuff. I've noticed it because I've only like not so long ago started to embrace it. And really, one thing you said there that's really important is to learn from it. You're learning from, geez, like what happens to me sometimes. I'm like, I didn't actually. You might be like, oh, I didn't know I did that well last year. No, last year was going. It didn't feel like it was going as well, but it actually was quite well. But that's down to me not being on top of things, each month and not having an idea. And now I have this thing where a lot of it for me comes down to fear. I think this is what I've found. It's like I have a fear of it. I've avoided because I'm scared of it, because it's like, I don't know. I've maybe have a weird association with money, how powerful money is.
Exactly it.
Yeah. And
you get a money blocks. And like in Ireland, we're notorious for this, where we have blocks because of, through the generations of, poverty that we've had in this country, that this is something that's bred into us throughout the years. Like even the old saying, there's only two things you have to do: die and pay taxes.
Yeah,
like imagine associating paying taxes with dying, like, but it's bred into us all the way through our lives that number one, you have to fear the tax man, and number two, you're poor, and you're always poor, and so we have this mental block all the time where we're afraid to talk about finances unless we're doing badly. If you're doing badly and you're in a circle of people who are doing badly, that's great because you all feed off each other and tell each other how poor you are. Like, think about college. And everyone's like, I have a fiver. Yeah, well, I've only €2.
I remember that actually when I was in college. I remember I was in the canteen one day and I was actually been talking to one of my lecturers. And I was like, I need to stop saying how poor I am all the time. It's all I ever say.
Yeah, like you can imagine if you're talking to someone and every time you talk to them, they tell you how tired they are. Now, I can be a bit guilty of that. But like, you suddenly feel tired when you see this person.
Yeah.
Now, when you're in a circle of people that are always talking about not having money and, having this mindset, and even aside from it being your circle of friends or whatever, things you're watching on TV, things you're watching on the news, things you're seeing all the time, you're seeing this constant thing of, I'm poor, I'm poor, I'm poor, we're all poor, we don't have any money, and it's a constant state of poverty instead of being in a state of abundance and saying, wow, like I'm doing really well. I'm paying all my bills. I'm paying my mortgage. I'm paying rent, whatever the things are. I'm managing to put a few bob aside every week and I'm doing well.
Yeah.
But
it's like a feeling of not being in control. It's out of control or something. And that makes you
the best thing is if you don't know whether your business is doing well or doing badly, you don't have to face that. So whatever you believe in your head is right. Rather than, okay, if you're doing badly, that's fine. This is where it went wrong. This is where you overspent. This is where you didn't take in enough. Like I use an example of, like, say in a salon and they're selling product A or product B, and product A has a higher markup than product B has, or product B takes longer to explain to a client or whatever. They should be focusing on the sale of product A. But in general, most people don't know which thing is making them the most money.
Yeah, that's a really big one. And they don't have And this is, I'm really guilty of this as well. Only up until recently, you don't even have a hierarchy of which one you should be focusing on more. And you could be spending all your time focusing on the one
Wrong
that's
thing.
not making you in any money.
Yeah.
It's nuts. And it's so mad.
Yeah. Like you'd see it often with like hotels, say, and they'll be selling, selling, selling in the restaurant. Now, the restaurant, they need to have wait staff, they need to have like big, huge cookers and ovens and lights and all this kind of stuff. They need to have chefs, and chefs are probably going to be one of the highest paid in your hotel. They have all of these things that they have to pay for to plate up your dinner. And every time you go onto a hotel social media, they're selling the restaurant. They're selling, selling, selling the restaurant. Now, if you take their rooms, they only have to clean the room. That's it.
Yeah.
Like you go in there, you stay there, you're costing the hotel nothing except a little bit of power. Like,
Yeah.
do you
That's
know?
really powerful stuff there. And that's where your finances come in, because like you're actually, what the business is doing there then is they are just focusing on selling something they want to sell. And
Exactly.
they're kind of ignoring something that is bringing them in their most, the most profit, the most money. It's probably actually easier to sell.
Like all those other things are fluff. So they're all the reasons that you go to the hotel.
Yeah.
So you're, say your leisure centre is, I'm not trying to say that there isn't money being made in leisure centres,
No, no, yeah.
those kind of things. There obviously is. But all of those things are adding to the reason you have someone coming to stay in your room.
Yeah. And do you know, like, you would never notice that unless you did something like that. You're financially aware, as you're saying, where you can actually see it on a sheet of paper and go, wait, hold on. Well, look at this. And then you can go, wait, we'll just start directing all of our advertising towards the sales of the rooms, all of the, everything towards that, and bring that in more. And it almost can change your
Yeah,
business.
exactly. And even though you wouldn't say, we'll focus only on this,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's giving you an area where you're saying, okay, 60% of our margin is going to be based on this. So
Yeah.
60% of the cost of our marketing should be in that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like it makes sense. And like the same for, you've businesses now where hopefully when we get back to level 4 and level 5, they'll be allowed to slowly reopen, and they can't have an awful lot of people in their businesses. So they need to have the right clients in their business. They need to be selling the right things, so that if you have someone that's only allowed in your premises for an hour, that they're going to be making you more money than a different client that's going to be in your business for an hour, So
Yeah.
like, I don't know, and I can't think of an example, but think of any business that's reduced to that, like a restaurant that can only have someone in there for an hour and 10 minutes or whatever they decide. God knows what it'll be when it reopens. But when they decide you can only be in there for that length of time, are you better off selling to a table of 6 or a table of 2? How many tables of 2 can you fit in your premises? Are we better off doing set menus where we only have 3 courses in and out, set menu, 3 courses, a bottle of wine, and this is the cost? Or do we do an a la carte menu, send out a wine list, send out a beer list, let people order gins? Do we do a gin night?
Yeah.
These kind of
Yeah.
things. Where is the money being made, and how do we then decide how to do business going forward?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's the best way to figure out how to grow your business, like you're saying, and it's at the root. That's the root of
Yeah,
where it starts, and that's like, again, like you can focus everything around that. And like you were saying, if you realize that this brings in 60% of the profits, let's put 60% of the marketing spend or whatever into that to bring in more. And I just find stuff like that helps you just sleep better at night. You don't feel messy,
yeah.
and it just feels
Give
so
direction.
smooth. Yeah.
Your business is moving in with a direction. It's not just that you're selling as much as you can possibly sell and trying to keep as much of the money as you possibly can to try to excel your business. You know where your business is going. You know where your hours are being spent. You know where it's best being spent. And like that goes right to like a small sole trader that feels like, well, I only have 2 clients. I want to get more clients in. I want to do this. I want to do that. In order for them to grow their business with the direction they wanted to go in, and you know making their business what they want it to be, because like, let's be real, it's our babies. You know, it's
Yeah.
not like if we didn't love it, we'd all have jobs
Yeah.
that were like, it's so much easier. Like, God, I've
Yeah.
never had a job as hard as being self-employed. You know, but at the same time, we're doing it for a reason. So you want it to become the business you want.
Yeah. In the long run of it, that'll
Yeah.
pay
Yeah.
off.
So
Yeah.
no matter how small you feel you are, or how slowly you're starting off, now is the time, like right at the beginning.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
yeah. Right at the very start is the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially like you're even saying for small, like sole traders, even, or someone just starting out in a business, to realize this stuff that you don't like. When I first started working for myself, I was doing so many jobs that weren't paying me. I was actually losing money on the jobs, but it didn't seem it at the time. I'd get money in and I'd be
Yeah.
taking the money. But you know, how many hours am I after spending on this?
And how do you
And
cost it? How do you cost the
yeah,
job? Like
yeah,
that's a massive thing for someone starting out.
yeah,
You don't know
yeah.
how much to charge.
It's a huge thing. And I tell you what I've noticed actually, from if I look back on myself when I didn't have a clue how much money, you know, I was running on just month to month with.
But yeah.
Now I know how much money I have coming in, or how much money I'm owed. But for years, this is only this year, really, right? I was like, I need to get a hold of this. Actually, after talking to you, I was like, I need to get a hold of this stuff. And um, now I know how much money I have coming in for the next few months, how much I'm owed, so I can see it. Like it's, and I use that Sage or whatever that's called, so I can see it there. There it is. I can see it, right? Before I never would know how much it is. I wouldn't know how much I've coming in. I don't. So to in my brain, I'm like, I've nothing. I've no money
I
coming in,
know. Yeah.
right? And the power that I found from it, right, is that when I was pricing a job when I didn't know, I was pricing to see how much money you like, how much can I price this so that you will say yes,
Yeah.
right? But now I price how much the job costs.
Exactly.
Yeah,
How much it's going to cost you to do that job and make it worth it to you. That you don't hate
yeah,
the job.
yeah,
You know, like if you're doing a job that you feel you're being underpaid for, you're not giving it your all.
no,
You hate it. You go to bed at night saying, "Oh, I can't believe I have to work on this stupid thing tomorrow again." You know,
yeah,
because like you feel like they're taking advantage of you,
yeah.
even though in that person's mind, you gave them a price and they accepted.
Sometimes
No.
you might sometimes I would notice that I would be annoyed at the price I'm doing it for. I came up with the price. I
Yeah.
never even asked them how much they wanted to spend on it. And then I could be saying, oh, I'm doing this for so cheap. I'm only
Yeah, and
doing
then
it
you're
for
annoyed
this.
with the client.
Yeah, I'm annoyed with them, but I gave them a cheaper price
Yeah.
because I just wanted them to say yes, because I don't know how much money I have. I need money for next month. What am I going to do next month if I don't get this job in? This is all the crazy
Yeah.
stuff going on in your head. Whereas when you know and you can see what the money is that you have, you can just be like, okay,
Yeah.
how much would this actually cost? And one thing I really noticed is, just because I feel like they won't agree to how much it is doesn't mean that they won't. It was just, that was my fear of money. When now every time I say what it actually costs, they're like, okay, because I break it down, I know what it is, and then they're like, okay, let's do that. And it
Yeah, and you're
could be,
confident because you know
yeah,
this is how much these things cost, and this is how much it costs me to go to the desk, to go from my bed to the desk. This is how much money it costs me because I have to have internet, I have to have power, I have to have this, I have to have that. And you know all the things you need to have. You know what your baseline cost is
yeah,
to have a business. So, and that's probably the most important thing is to know how much your business costs you just to open,
yeah,
you know, without putting in any of the extra bits, without deciding on different things you want to do, know how much your base is, how much it costs you to be open. And that's your base. That's how you know, okay, that has to be covered every month. After that, then I'm starting into profit.
and then you're confident in it. You're like, that's just, it is what it is, and you're not scared. Then, what would you say people should do who are scared of this? Like, they're just like, I don't want to face into the finances of it.
Well, honestly, like I'm a huge advocate for mindfulness and meditation. Like I spent 15 years in the corporate world doing accountancy, and I was in all different types of finance roles, like from one extreme to the other. And then suddenly I was knocked on my back. I injured my back and I was left in bed and I couldn't do anything. And thank God I was working for an amazing company that allowed me to work from home where I could. A lot of times I wasn't able to work at all, but they were just fantastic to me. Like, they were really good to me. Anything I needed was there for me. They were amazing. But I was almost a year, I'd say, in bed, and I decided I needed to change. It had to be something different. I couldn't keep getting up and going to work for 12 hours a day. I just couldn't do it. So I started looking into mindfulness and meditation and this kind of thing. And meditation, like, I always would have been into that side of things anyway. I was into yoga, into Pilates, into like holistic living and natural products and all that kind of stuff. But so I started really looking into mindfulness to overcome my pain because I was in pain all of the time. Painkillers weren't doing anything. I'd been told by 5 different surgeons that there was nothing they were going to be able to do for my back. And the only thing that I ever felt that helped me was there were certain days I was able to make it to the forest. And when I would go to the forest, I just felt completely rejuvenated. And I was saying, there's something to this, like, there's something to being in the present, not feeling pain, not thinking about pain, not being upset, not getting depressed, all that kind of stuff. So I decided I was going to start studying it. So from my bed, I studied mindfulness and meditation and did a diploma in it. And when things started getting a bit better for me, I said, this is it. I have to do something with mindfulness and meditation. And that's how Balanced was born. And it was the balance between your finances and mindfulness, and how mindfulness can bring you that sense of standing in the middle of a forest and feeling in the moment pain-free. And that's what mindfulness does. And it's what it does for your business. It's what it does for everything. So when you're feeling that you're trying to avoid your finances, there's no way I could say, oh, it's going to be easy. We just do this, do a breathing technique, and you love your finances, because that's obviously not true. But there is something.
Yeah, that's not the way it works, but there is something to it.
There's something in saying, whether it's good or bad, I know what's happening. I'm in control of it. I know in this moment, this is what's important. So when you sit down to keep track of your finances, you decide you're going through your bank statements, you're going through your ins and your outs and that kind of thing. When you sit down to do that, like, I'm not huge into posting on social media and all that kind of stuff. I'm very bad at it. But what I do to help me get to that point is I really love sitting on my yoga mat. I really love coffee. Like, there's a few little things that are like my
Treat
favorite things
yourself.
to do. So I would never sit down to post on social media at my computer desk where I do accounts. Never. I would go
Yeah,
up to
that's a different person. That's a
completely different.
business
Yeah.
person.
I
Yeah,
like,
I
it's
know
not
what you mean.
something that I'm getting into this zone. So I will go upstairs, I'll put my yoga mat down, I'll sit down, I'll have the laptop, and I get into this frame of mind where I can start doing that. I can post and I can put myself as the marketing person. But it's the same for someone that's doing finances. You need to have, this is my space. This time every week, I'm going to start keeping track of my ins and outs. No matter what else happens, on Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning, I spend 1 hour or half an hour looking at my finances. And as that builds, like, it could only be half an hour a week, but as that starts building, you'll find after a few weeks of it, it's just easier and you know where you are. And if it means you need to get help with it, you get help with it. If it's something you can do yourself, you do it yourself. But it just needs to be faced head on,
Yeah.
because nothing is worse than you can imagine it is. Like, your mind can make things so much worse than it actually is.
Yeah, the fear is it's a feeling. It's a sensation. It's not a real thing. Like, because you're so scared of doing your taxes or so scared of becoming financially aware of what you're earning.
Yeah.
It makes you feel a certain way, but that feeling is just the sensation in your body. It's our fear of the worst case scenario that, you might owe money, or you might be not earning enough money. But it's normally, even if that was the case, that's not so bad. You'd be able to overcome it and work through
Once you
that.
know, then you're in a place where you can help yourself.
Yeah, and it's not like it's the end of the world. You can always change these things. But I do
Yeah.
find a lot of merit in what you're saying about the mindfulness approach to things, where, just, I think it's that thing of being afraid. You have to just let's just do it, face up to it, and we'll be aware of what it is, and it's
The
never as
awareness.
bad.
Yeah, it's the awareness that you bring to your spending, that you bring to your income, that you bring to everything you're doing in your business. That you know there's a reason I'm doing this. Like I'd meet people often that are signing up to do different courses, and I'd say to them, okay, how's that going to benefit your business? And they're spending big money on it. How's it going to benefit your business? And they say, well, I think it'll help me with this side of things. I'm like, okay, yeah, but show me the money.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
how financially is this going to help your
yeah.
business? You're investing €500. So how much are you going to get back out of it? And yeah, you're not going to know exactly how much you're going to get back out of things, but you can estimate how things can, how different courses will benefit you to be able to sell in a different way.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, totally agree. Today's episode is sponsored by Studio Great. Studio Great is an Irish design studio that specializes in brand design, website development, and video production. Studio Great was founded by myself and Connor English, and we built it on the idea that better brands make better lives. We have offices located in both Athlone and Mullingar, County Westmeath. We work with a small network of expert designers and creatives to deliver world-class brand design, website development, and video production. We have over 10 years of experience working at the highest international standards, and we bring that experience and intensity to every project we work on. The website address is www.studiogreat.eu. Yeah, the mindfulness idea of everything is really powerful, because actually when we were first working together, you were talking about mindfulness with your business, and I was confused about what that was, because I was like, what is that? Is that like you do your accounts and you're meditating doing your accounts or anything? But you described it really well to me, as in similar to like a sports, an athlete. The way an athlete's so focused and they're mindful when they're doing something, that they're only focusing on the task ahead.
Yeah.
And I actually took a lot of inspiration from that, because like I was saying to you, I have this like a kind of hang up about money, and it would really affect me when I'm pricing a job. I don't like talking about money or asking someone for money, because, right, this is where this is taking a lot of work as well. I have to use mindfulness when I'm talking about money, because all these weird things and emotions that I attach to money start to bleed in, right? And I make money a very personal thing to me and to the other person. And I don't want to be robbing money off the other person, or, I get all this weird ideas, or is that too much? Or am I giving them enough for that? Or, all these weird insecurities start to come in. And I always have trouble talking about money. So what would actually happen would be that I wouldn't talk about money at the start, and then I'd be like, we'll see how much it'll be, and then I wouldn't get paid till, then I'm doing them a favor, that to this person that I don't even know or have never met, and I'm doing their big massive business a favor, because I want to be sound to them and all this, this crazy stuff. But when I was talking to you, you said one thing that was really powerful, was that it's just money. Like, it's just green paper. That's all it is. It's just paper. And that made me think, then this is where I started using the mindfulness. I was like, business is just this big game that we all play, right? So we're all just playing this game, and in the game, you give me money, I make this thing will make you more money. So what I started to do was just remove the emotions out of it. And I have to actually really fight to do that, because I get like a kind of anxiety feeling when I'm doing it. And if I'm straight up saying this will cost this much, I don't want to say it. I have to force myself to say it. And there's never a problem. It's because, like you were saying before, I'm thinking of the worst case scenario. And last week, the worst case scenario happened, right? And someone said to me, absolutely no way. And that was it.
Fair enough. Okay. You know where I am.
This is what I'm worried about. So I was holding my entire business back by doing this. And in fact, what actually happened was that person said, no way, how about we do it for X amount, which was still more than I would have ever charged anyway.
Yeah. And you find that. And like where you're saying you feel awkward asking for money. So let me ask you this. If I said to you, Calvin, have you got 4 hours to do this particular project for me? Do you think in any way I feel awkward asking you if you have 4 hours, or that you feel awkward that I asked you if you have 4 hours?
Yeah.
Not
I
at
feel,
all. Now, that
yeah.
4 hours means it's 4 hours that you're not with your family, you're not with your daughter, you're not out, doing the things you love, you're not hanging out with friends. That's really personal. That's 4 hours. That's really personal. That's your life. But you have no emotion attached to that. You've no problem with saying, yes, Shirley, I will give you 4 hours. No bother. Now I'm going to pay you. That's fine. But there's no, like, you've no emotional attachment with giving up 4 hours that you could be spending with your family at
That's
home.
more important.
Way more important than
Yeah.
green paper, and it's not even green paper anymore. Now it's bloody like a number on a screen.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Like, it's not even real anymore. Like they're printing paper, they're printing money now, like, oh, there's a pandemic, we better start printing loads of paper. And they've done it. They're printing money. There's no gold in the world to cover the amount of money that we have in the world in circulation at the minute. So like if everyone decided to take every penny they had and spend it on something, we couldn't, there's no way possible. There's nothing in the world worth the amount of money that's in the world. Like, it's crazy.
It's mad. It's mad. But it is a perspective that I think actually working with you and talking about your business, which it really helped me kind of go, yeah, actually, because I'm from like a creative background, so we all just feel bad for everything. Any asking for any money for
Everyone
anything.
does, Calvin.
Yeah,
It's not about whether you're business minded or arty or if you're this or that. It's not about any of that. It's personal.
yeah,
It's
personal. Yeah,
personal what you grow up with. Like, I grew up in a home. I was so lucky. My father was self-employed. He like ran his business. He did every part of his business with his books. He'd come home in the evening and he'd sit down with his books and he'd be writing everything up. They used to have the big giant red books. My
yeah,
dad had this trendy, like, rectangular shaped one that was very cool. It was way better than the big red book. And then my mother did budgets, and it was like a very normal thing to see my mother doing a budget, and she taught us how to do budgets, and we all knew this is how you budget. This is how you know what you're spending on your groceries. This is how you save to buy new windows. This is how, like, I've been on a holiday every year since I was 4 months old. Like, there's not many people that can say that. Like, and that was all through my life because my mother budgeted and she knew what she knew what was important. She knew the things that, kept dad going to work every day, coming home, looking forward to something, and kept her working every day and bringing us, like, having all of us in school, having all of us doing everything. Because for 2 weeks, we were going to the sun,
yeah.
we were going abroad. And like that was something that kept us all going. But it was down to budgeting and it was an awareness. But in so many houses, and I see it now when I talk to people, it just wasn't talked about.
No,
You
it's
didn't
almost bad manners.
completely.
Yeah,
Now don't get me wrong, we didn't go out and say to our neighbours, "Oh, Mum is just at home doing the budget."
yeah. We're going on holiday this year.
You're not going on holidays, and we are. But it wasn't that. But it was just that we knew that was part of life.
Yeah,
We knew that if you wanted something, you had to work for that thing, you had to save for that thing, and that's how you got it. I don't know if my parents ever had a credit card in their lives.
yeah,
And so many parents are like that. They didn't buy things on credit. They didn't do that. But like we're, of course, a generation now that need everything right this instant. So we need to get loans and we need to get credit cards and we need to get this and we need to get that. And it's just mad.
yeah. By Friday, I wanted Friday.
Yeah. And then we're associating all these personal feelings to it as well. But it's a personal feeling. It's not whether you're from the world of business and you think it's okay to ask for money or not.
Yeah, and the when you really boil it down, because I went through this, I'd be doing some CBT techniques sometimes, this kind of stuff for business, and when you really boil it down, you're worried people won't like you.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually what's wrong. It's not you're scared of money. You're actually worried people won't like you if you ask for money.
And you don't know how to ask for it.
Yeah, you don't know how.
Things like how to fumble and, like I would say
Yeah,
to people that it's often a lot easier to ask for something in writing. So like it's easier to send an email to someone and say, "Hi, have you got this?" Blah blah blah. But it's also not creating a relationship,
Yeah, I find that as well. You have to
you
say
know.
it. It's
Yeah,
yeah,
because it's a relationship and it's,
yeah,
like we're friends and I can say to you, I sent over that invoice. Did you get it? Cool. Will you let me know when you're transferring it?
yeah. No big deal because it is no big deal. Yeah, it doesn't have to be this big thing. It's
No,
you. It's yeah,
transaction. The same way as they didn't feel it was a big deal for you to give up whatever amount of hours of your life to do the work.
yeah.
They didn't go to bed at night saying, can't believe I'm after asking him to spend 6 hours on my whatever. They're not going to bed saying that. They're not going to bed saying, oh, poor Calvin is going to be working on that bloody logo now and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I wonder, is he okay with it? They're going to bed
Yeah,
and they're like, ooh, no bother. Calvin's doing
yeah.
that for me.
You better have it tomorrow.
No, probably.
Brilliant. No, but that is brilliant. It's kind of getting into the psychological aspect of it, but that is actually a huge part of it because if you think about everything that we've just spoke about there, it's you just have to face into the fear of it, and especially to get your finances in order and be aware of how your business is doing and how you will, because the goal of that then is to grow your business. It's not to be like you said before, you're not going to be telling people don't spend this, don't spend that, don't do that. It's, do you want to grow your business? Yes. Well, you need to do this first, because you can come to a company to do your marketing, to get your brand made, to get all your website done and all this stuff. Don't do that first. You get the finances done first so that you know how much you can spend on that. And then you can do projections. How much will that bring back in? Da, 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 da. That's the way it needs to work.
Absolutely. Like, there's no point in having an absolutely beautiful website for a business that doesn't exist anymore.
Useless.
Like, there's nothing in it. There's no point. And it kind of, you'd see an awful lot with people as well as they start doing it with their business. They'll start doing it for their personal lives as well.
Yeah.
Like I think I said to you one day we were chatting and I said, do you know how much it costs you to live?
Yes, I do remember this, and it was huge. And I was no idea,
Yeah. And
no clue.
majority of people have, and whatever about if you're in a job and you're paid a wage, you have some idea because you're surviving on your wage. Now, that's absolutely no way to live your life anyway. You shouldn't be surviving on your wage. And I've been there and so have we all.
Yeah.
But, every penny that you're bringing in should have a place for it to go and should have direction. And you should know how much it costs you to get up and live and survive every day.
You told me about this, and I didn't even know how much money I spent on shopping every week.
Yeah.
Right. So I went and I did it all, right? And I wrote it all out. And I would say that 50% of my income, I didn't have a clue where it was going. I'm not even messing about that. There's like 50%. I couldn't even say, where is that going? I don't know. So I earn this much and I spend this much. This is what, like, this cost, this cost, this cost. It's like, where is the rest of that going? That 50% after my rent was covered, my bills were all covered, anything was covered. There was just this big chunk, groceries as well. Like, I just don't know what I was doing. So now that's like a big, huge chunk I could have been saving, but I don't know what I spend. I spend on, God knows, coffees and
Yeah.
sandwiches, and I don't know
I
what.
know. And when it's there, and again, that's the thing. It's like we have this fear of money, which includes having money.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want.
If
Yeah, yeah,
if there's money in your pocket, it has to go. Like it,
yeah,
or like I with lots of personal clients that I'd work with, they would say, I'd say, okay, pay yourself first. So once you know what your budget is, once you know how much everything is costing you to survive, as soon as you get paid, you transfer money into your savings. And that's an agreed amount, an amount you've decided you're going to save. So pay yourself first. Then everything else is covered. And like a lot of people would say to me, okay, cool. And what will I spend that on then? Like what am I saving for? And I'm like, have money. But they're like, is that for my holiday? Is that for my house? Is that for like, what's that to save for? And I'm saying, that's to save. That's the freedom.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
financial freedom is. That money doesn't have to go anywhere. The fact that you own that money gives you the freedom to then decide you're going to book a holiday down the road you know, but that money is not to be spent on the holiday. That's to give you the freedom to save other money to go places because
And
that money is there if you need it, you
and
know?
also then that money that you're just saving there, if you're a business owner and you run your business, that's taking away that pressure. that
Yeah,
fear of whatever you're, oh, I'm running a business, the business is running well, I'm also saving money here
exactly.
in my private life,
Yeah.
my
And then you
personal
get
life.
hit by the pandemic, zombie apocalypse, or whatever it be, and
Yeah,
here you have a cushion,
yeah,
and like a lot of people have done well because of the pandemic and have managed to keep their businesses going and everything. A lot of businesses have not.
yeah,
But at least if there's some sort of a cushion there, they can say, okay, how can I turn this around? Okay, I'm not going to be able to be in the business, so I'm going to sell product. I'm going to go online and sell product. So I'm going to take this cushion money now. I'm going to invest it in product. I'm going to invest it in a website, an e-commerce website that I can buy things. I'm going to that people can buy things from. That's where my money, that's where my cushion is going to go. So now we're a business that was hit by the pandemic that's surviving
yeah.
because they had a cushion.
And then the big thing as well, that if you're financially aware, like you're saying, and you have all of your products there, you know which products to put online,
Yeah,
which ones are selling, how much it costs for your post and packaging, how much does it cost to deliver, which ones should we be pushing, which
yeah,
one should be on the front of the website that everyone loves, that they want, all this stuff, it just all is intertwined with everything. And
yeah,
if you don't know, what you could be doing is you could be selling some product. I've talked to a few people who are selling products they haven't even done any research on, that people want. They just buy them, and then no one's buying them, but they're spending all their time pushing these products. It's
yeah. And a lot of the times, there's a big investment in buying those products to start with.
huge.
And then you're saying, okay, so there's say a 10% margin on it. So they know they're going to earn 10% of a margin. But now you also have to have upgraded your website. You
Yeah,
also have to pay for your broadband at home, which has to be high speed broadband because the website keeps crashing. You need to have, all these other expenses. So now that 10% becomes, it's actually costing me money to sell this stuff because
yeah,
it's also taken 5 hours out of my day to push it on social media and actually get the sales out.
yeah. So I'm actually earning nothing from
I'm
this
earning
at all.
nothing
I'm actually
except,
minus sometimes, I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's
yeah,
mad on.
yeah.
It's very good though. Um, yeah, brilliant. So, what do people do? How can this has been like, how? What's your advice? What's your advice to people that are starting up a business? Watch and say that are kind of running their business. That might be midway through their business now. What is your advice for them to do? Should they get in?
Okay. Put time aside every week to work on your finances. So whether that be, I don't know what I'm going to actually do, regardless of what you think it's going to be, block out that time. The same time every week, that's the time I work on my finances and nothing else. Then you start going through bank statements to see what's coming in and what's going out. And even just the thing of writing that into a ledger or typing that into a spreadsheet, seeing what's actually coming in and going out can be very eye opening.
Yeah,
You know, Definitely you should have a business bank account. Even as a sole trader, I would say keep your personal spending and your business spending completely separate so that you can see at the drop of a hat how much is being spent on your business. And keep a budget.
yeah,
Make sure to budget everything. Everything needs to be budgeted for.
yeah, and having
Don't
that,
spend unless it's in your budget.
absolutely. Because having that time is just as important to allocate, is just as important as having time allocated to do whatever your service or your product is. It's so
It
important.
won't get done if you don't have it. And
Yeah,
I always say early in the week, because especially if it's something you're not really into or something that you're really avoiding, you don't push that out to the end of the week because absolutely anything that can take its place will.
yeah.
You know.
And I can give some advice here, right?
Oh, good.
If you've been listening to this and you're not doing any of the stuff, right? Don't be scared, because in like one day you can get so much of it together. It's not actually that hard
No,
if you just sit down, do it, and then you'll feel like a god. You'll feel like all your work, oh my god, this is brilliant, because it's never actually as bad as you think it is either. And it really just takes one day, get into the habit of doing it, and then each week, then it's actually easier each
yeah,
week. You might only take an hour, half an hour or so. It's not even that hard to do. And but the confidence, and it just feels good. It
yeah.
feels
And
so
don't
much.
be afraid to ask your accountant questions. Like right now, a lot of people are going to be getting their stuff over to their accountants and stuff. Don't be afraid to ask your accountant to break down your sales for you and see, you know, it may be something that they don't do, it may be something they charge extra for. I'm not sure. Don't be afraid to ask. It's just a question. You can say to them, you know, when you my stuff filed, can you send me out something to show me what has gone in or out of the business?
Yeah, excellent,
No.
excellent. Excellent advice, Shirley. Well, listen, how can people find you if they'd like to work with you?
I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. I have a website, www.balancedbyshirley.com, and my email and phone number and everything is on all that.
Excellent. And you offer like you offer all this
Yeah, I
stuff.
do exactly this, where I take a business from the very start, you know, set them up with all of the reports that they need to be doing and make things easy for them so that they're literally inputting stuff and it's throwing out figures to them and it's throwing out everything into the areas it should be in. And also for your personal lives, for your personal finances.
Unbelievable. Brilliant. Thanks very much, Shirley.
Thanks a million, Calvin.